Hello, my name is Douglas Arner, and welcome to Looking Back, Looking Forward. And this time we're going to be talking about data as finance. If you think about finance today, finance is one of the world's most digitized, one of the world's most globalized, and one of the world's most regulated industries. In reality, almost all of finance is digital information. If we think about the $6.5 trillion changing hands in the global foreign exchange markets, it's almost entirely digital. As a result, in many ways, when we talk about finance, we are talking about data. It is a digital industry. At the same time, a process of datafication, of the evolution and use of an ever wider range of analytics, data analytics to digital data is at the core of finance. Whether this is a traditional physical analyst, whether this is an Excel spreadsheet, or whether it is a sort of complex form of independent artificial intelligence. All of these are forms of analytics which are applied to digital data. And the challenge from a legal and regulatory standpoint is that often law and regulation hasn't come to terms with this fact that finance is in many ways just electronic data. And much of what we think of in terms of financial activities is based on the application of a range of analytics. And I think when we think about this idea of datafication, the key is to realize that in the context of the ongoing fourth industrial revolution, the digitization of everything, that countries are looking at data as the new oil, a new form of strategic competition, not just from the standpoint of creating data, but from the standpoint of maximizing the value of data. And this is an issue that my friends Giuliano Castellano, Eric Selga, and I have looked at in the context of general data governance, the emergence of differing frameworks to govern data in different countries, and how those frameworks, particularly in the major economies of China, the European Union, and the United States, are increasingly diverging and conflicting, resulting in what some have even called a digital Berlin Wall, where data is locked in different jurisdictions. Now, from the standpoint of finance, what does this all mean? And historically, finance has not really thought about data regulation. It's had its own separate legal and regulatory frameworks. If we think about data regulation in finance, it's often about standardization of disclosure information or about regulatory requirements for data, or about the ways that different forms of data are used in finance. For instance, in the context of credit ratings, credit information, credit bureaus, accounting, auditing, and the like. But in the past 5 years, we have seen an increasing intersection between the law of data and the law of finance, and a range of conflicts, to the extent where in the European Union, as a result of the General Data Protection Regulation, conflicts whereby criminal justice agencies like Europol have actually had to destroy data based on investigations because of violations of data protection requirements. Similarly, major challenges from financial services in trying to comply with rules around market integrity and money laundering at the same time as data. And what we are seeing, the emergence of a range of different models around the world, often in the context of things like open banking, where countries are seeking to strategically maximize the value, not just of data generally, but specifically of financial data. And this is what we call financial data governance. And from the standpoint of datafication of finance, from the standpoint of cross-border flows of finance as data, the fact that we are seeing the growth of not only conflicts, but also requirements of data localization is posing a major challenge for the industry and for policymakers.